Hi guys, welcome to today's video. So I finally got the Colourpop Mint to Be palette in the post earlier this week, and so we're going to do a little mini review of this palette and talk a little bit about how it compares to the Just My Luck palette, which is one of my absolute favorite Colourpop palettes. So this is the palette. So first impressions when I got it is I thought it looked really beautiful. I was very excited about it, especially kind of this like sparkly, what is it called? Minty shade. I thought that was really nice, and I really like these kind of tealy kind of colors here and these kind of more olivey kind of shades here. I'm going to show you some swatches, probably up here in this side, maybe on this side, I don't know. I'm going to show you some swatches, and one of the things to kind of note is that they aren't, I mean, it's a pastel palette, but they're not very pigmented, which was a little bit of a disappointment for me because I've recently realized that green eyeshadow and me get along really, really well, and so I was very excited about this release. I bought it on the release date. It does take 2 weeks to get to me here in the UK, so this is why this review is coming late. But I was very excited about this. I love these kind of pastel-y green shades, and it is a beautiful palette. You can see I am wearing it on my eyes today, and I think it looks really nice. I'll definitely get a lot of use out of it, but maybe not so much just on its own. I think it's a palette that I'm gonna have to pair with other palettes to get more intense or vibrant looks, because it is a bit kind of samey. I did a look yesterday with this palette. I'll also put that somewhere up above. And it looks pretty much the same as today. The only difference is that today I also used the SuperShock in Mint for You, and I thought that really complemented the colors that I'm wearing, which is Seltzer and Ice Cold. They're the more tealy, minty colors, less the kind of olivey toned ones. And I thought that the sparkly green, after swatching it, really went with those two particular colors in the palette. So just some comments. Sorry if I'm looking down. I have my notes just right here. So for the look number one, which I just put the picture up, I used Dement, Chill Factor to deepen up a little bit, and then Freshman to put over the lid to give a bit of sparkle. It was pretty, it wasn't that intense, so I think I would have to go in with another color possibly to deepen it up. Maybe taking one from Just My Luck, maybe something like, like Act Natural, which is like Act Natural, I think might work really well, or even Kiss My Ass is a bit deeper than that, so maybe Mobamba. Yeah, so I think having something from the Kiss My Luck palette, Just My Luck palette, sorry, I was thinking something different there, would go really well with this palette. So I think I might try and pair them together. I might also maybe think about depotting them both into like one mega green palette so that I can have all the greens together. So comparing the colors from this palette, I left this on so we wouldn't get any reflection here. So comparing the colors from this palette, so what I noticed is that Get Fresh and Seltzer actually they're different in the pans, but when they're on the eyes, these two look almost the same, except for that Get Fresh there's almost no pigment whatsoever, so it's really something to kind of blend out another color with. So they look pretty similar. And then also Play It Cool, Mojito Mami, and Freshman, which are these three different shimmer shades. Actually, when I swatched them, they all pretty much look the same, which was a bit of a surprise. I think the most different one is Minty, which is probably my favorite of the colors in the palette of the sparkly ones, and Ice Cold is my favorite of the matte shadows. Ice Cold is also the most pigmented shadow, and you can really see it here in my outer corner, that I used quite a lot of that deep kind of teal. And then yesterday when I tried to use this palette, I used, as I said, Dement and Chill Factor, and to be honest, it kind of ended up looking like both of them just, I mean, obviously they blended into each other because they're eyeshadows, they should blend in, but it was really hard to tell that there was two colors on the eyes. It really just looked like it was one color. In between the two Super Shocks, which come with this collection, so we have these guys here. So we have Flux, which is this kind of matte, minty kind of color. Here, sorry, let me open that so you can see a little bit better. So it's a matte mint. It's a bit, I don't know, I'm not really used to this kind of matte Super Shock formula. It's a bit weird, to be honest with you. It's kind of chunky as well. Maybe I just dug in there a little bit too hard. So this Flux color and then the Get Fresh in the palette, this one up here, are pretty much the same color, except for this one is a little bit more intense because obviously it's a SuperShock shadow, and so it's just a little bit more pigmented, but it's still quite, I don't know if you can see, it's quite patchy when it goes on, so I think you'd have to work quite hard with it. Honestly, I'm not sure it's a color that I'm going to use, which is a bit of a bummer. I will say that Mint For You, this sparkly color, is really, really beautiful, and I'll definitely be using that in the future. Because it's just a really pretty kind of sparkly, tealy green topper color. It doesn't really have a lot of pigment to itself. It is green. It's not very pigmented, so I think it'd be good as a topper over another green shade. I went and had a look between the Mint To Be and, sorry for the noise, and then the Just My Luck palette. And to be honest with you, they are very, very different palettes, so I wouldn't worry about getting too much kind of overlap. The only two that were pretty much the same, again, was the Get Fresh shade here, and then the Chances Are shade up here. Otherwise, there's no similarities between the two palettes. I think that they actually would work together pretty well, although some of the shades in the Just My Luck palette are a bit more leaning olivey, browny greens, whereas the Mint To Be, they're a bit cool toned, so there might be some contrast between the two and how well they gel together. So, but I will try and do some looks with the two, and then we'll see how that goes. So overall impression, kind of disappointed, which is a shame because I do love the Colourpop shadows. I do love the formula. I think these perform pretty well. I think they're lacking in pigment, and I know that it is because they are pastel shades, and so I shouldn't be that surprised, but for me, I was just expecting maybe something a little bit better, and I've been really waiting for another green palette since the Just My Luck came out. I was actually hoping for a spring green palette rather than a mint green palette, but whatever. If you are someone who just wants to have all of the Colourpop palettes, you're completionist, and you really want to have it in your collection, you really like kind of more fair shades on your eyes, then I think you'll really like the Mint To Be palette. If you like greens and you want something that's a bit deeper, I would recommend the Just My Luck palette. I think it's an amazing palette, so that would be my choice there. If you want it, buy it, but I bet you probably don't need it. That's it. That's our little mini review of the Mint To Be palette. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye!